What is going on, everyone else? I have this video for you today about the Dasha Chalana. For those of you that have known me for a little bit, who have worked with me, know that this is a default that I go to just to warm up the body. It's excellent for starting your workouts at the gym. It's brilliant before you go on a run. What it does, the Dasha Chalana just means 10 churnings, and it's just about mobilizing all the major joint areas of the body. So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to do about 10 churnings per joint. And later on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to film a video on each section. So if you notice that during the ankle part that your ankles have difficulty moving, then I'll link down in the description a video to the ankles to show you how to do that movement more specifically, and then also some things to help alleviate pain or tension in those specific areas. And so feel free to join along. You just need to find a comfortable space. I'll also narrate this though, if you're sitting down or laying down. Sometimes we just don't have the energy to be able to do this standing up, and that's cool. Just take care of yourself in a way that makes the most sense. This first movement that I'm going to make is not technically a part of the Dasha Chalana. I add it in because I think it's a useful movement to make. So as you like, just take a deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. And as you like, let the body shake up and down. Some of these movements can look pretty silly. And so you're just letting the whole body shake here. I like this one whenever I need some energy. And you can kind of change how you do it. If you're trying to rev yourself up, go a little more vigorously. If you're trying to slow things down, but you need a little bit of energy at the end of the day, making this bounce a little slower can be useful. But when all of that feels complete to you, just let yourself return to a resting position, taking a deep breath into the nose, and then exhale with a big sigh. And then the first movement of the official Dasha Chalana is just stepping one leg back behind you so that the top of the foot is on the floor, and let that ankle roll in a circle. It's kind of like you're doing the stanky leg. Right? But it's just that ankle rolling, and as a result, the rest of the leg churns. If you're sitting down or laying down, just moving the foot in a way that feels useful to you. And as you like, let that ankle move the opposite way. So same ankle, same movement, just opposite direction. What we do one way, we're going to do the opposite way. And then when all of that feels complete, allow both of your feet to return to the surface that supports you as you take a deep breath in. And exhale with a big sigh. Then as you like, the opposite foot steps back, top of the foot on the floor, and let that ankle roll in a circle. I find that this movement sequence is particularly useful for individuals with anxiety. It helps to kind of ground that anxiousness, and for individuals with depression, it helps to move things. It helps to make things less stagnant. And when all of that feels complete rolling that way, let that ankle stanky leg the opposite direction. Again here, it's just that ankle rolling, and as a result, the rest of the leg churns. And then when all of that feels complete to you, let yourself return to that neutral position. Deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. And then allow the head to roll. You can do a big head roll or a small head roll. I'll do a video about head rolls there in the description and how different sized head rolls can help you in different ways. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to check that out. Make sure that you go nice and slowly though, or slowly enough so that you don't get dizzy. And when all of that feels complete going that direction, let your head go the opposite way. Sometimes just slowing down through pieces that are especially tense can be helpful. So just take care of yourself and slow things down in a way that makes sense to you. If you're really enjoying one movement, one motion, feel free to pause the video and just stay with that for a little bit. But when all of this feels complete, let yourself return to that neutral position. Deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. And then allow your shoulders to roll. They can roll backwards, they can roll forwards. They can shimmy, they can shake. What can't they do? Their shoulders. They can do everything. So just feel the shoulders rolling. And I really like to tune into the sensations of the shoulder blades here. Right? Can you feel those shoulder blades lifting and lowering, protracting and retracting? If you're interested in more about that, if you're coming in here looking for shoulder stuff, I'll link to a shoulder video here in the description, kind of going through more of those biomechanics. But when all of that feels complete going that way, let the shoulders go the opposite way. Just noticing how it feels. And if at any point you're just like, oh my God, I'm tired, I want to stop, stop, right? You don't have to keep going just because I am. And when all of that feels complete to you, when you feel sufficiently rolled out like an Autobot, let yourself return to a neutral position. Deep breath into the nose. And exhale with a big sigh. This next one is probably the trickiest, I think, because it's a little bit more detailed. Bring the palm of the hands together. Interlace the bottom 3 fingers so the index finger sticks up and the thumb points back to you. You want that Charlie's Angels thing going on. With the hands in this position, elbows parallel to the floor, let the wrists wobble from side to side so that you trace a sideways figure 8 with the tip of the index finger. I'll zoom in here a little bit. Right, and so you're kind of making a little wave. And so just feeling yourself make that movement. This one can take a little bit of time just to kind of get the hang of that pattern. So feel free to pause the video and play with it a little bit if you're new to it. But when all of that feels complete, give yourself a moment to pause. Maybe taking a deep breath in. Exhaling with a big sigh. And then going the opposite direction, which can sometimes cause a bit of a segaltis in the mind. So slow it down, map out that pattern. It's kind of like going backwards on a Mario Kart track. So just take things nice and slowly. Speed it up if you really want to. But when all of that feels complete, allow the arms to drop down, taking a deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. And then let yourself twist into empty coat sleeves. Just feel that rib cage twisting over the pelvis. Let the arms get floppy. Noticing what you notice. If you are sitting down or laying down, maybe just twisting to one side and holding that for a couple of breaths before twisting to the opposite side and holding that for a couple of breaths. Sometimes if we're feeling especially stagnant, twisting can be useful to kind of move a little bit of that energy in the body. Any movement in general can just be useful for that stagnation. But if you're interested in more twisting, there'll be a video here in the chat for you later on. Or in the description, not in the chat. And when all of that feels complete to you, allow yourself to return to neutral, inviting a deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. Hands move on to the hips and let the hips churn in a circle. Like Shakira, our hips do not lie. So just rolling through the hips here. I always think of the Herman Monster song too. My hip bone's connected to my leg bone. All that kind of stuff. But if you're sitting down or laying down, what might be a little more feasible is side bends. And so if you're unable to stand for whatever reason, maybe just knock out a couple of side bends. But if you're joining me in standing, continue to let the hips churn. And then as you like, let the hips gesticulate to the opposite direction. It's a Sam the Eagle word. So just feeling those hips churning. There's a lot that goes on in the hips, right? It's kind of this major junction where the leg bones meet the torso. And so there'll be a little bit more detailed movements in the hip sections, about how to kind of loosen that area up some if you notice that you have a lot of stagnation or a lot of tension or even pain there. And when all of this feels complete, let yourself return to neutral. Deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. And as you like the hands, move down to the knees and let the knees turn in a circle. It doesn't have to be a big circle, right? You don't have to go wide out to the sides, right? Just a little teeny tiny one can be useful. Just take care of yourself in a way that makes the most sense. If you're sitting down or laying down, sometimes just extending or bending the knees can be useful. When that feels complete going that way, let the knees move the opposite direction. And when all of that feels complete to you, when you've wiggled through the knees enough, let yourself return to neutral. Deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. And last but not least, the wacky inflatable tube person. So the knees are going to push forward, and then the hips, the chest, and the head all wiggle up. So you're waving through the body like you're doing the worm. This one takes quite a bit of coordination, so if you need to slow it down, go for it. I'll have a more detailed instruction video on how to do this in the description, so if you're struggling with this one specifically, feel free to peruse that. But really, a lot of it's just kind of doing it over and over and over again until you get it. And when all of that feels complete to you, just allow this movement to slow down until the ride comes to a complete stop. Taking a deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. Deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. Breathing into the nose. And then out of the nose. One last time, breathing into the nose. And out of the nose. And just let yourself tune in. Notice how you feel. Notice what's different, if anything. And that is the Dasha Chalana. And so, like I said, there's going to be more detailed breakdowns of each of those movements in the description, so feel free to check those out. But if you need to, this video is always here for reference. Feel free to speed it up as well. When I do it, this whole thing takes about 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes, start to finish. But because I'm kind of guiding it, it takes a little bit longer. So once you have the pattern down, it's something that happens pretty quickly. And like I said before, it's a great warm-up whenever you wake up in the morning. It's something perfect before you work out, go for a run, whatever the thing may be. Or if you're just feeling blah, and you're like, I don't want to do anything. Just a little bit of this, even laying down, can be chef's kiss. So thanks for hanging out.